Hey guys, before this video starts, I just wanted to talk to you guys, the audience, personally. Um, I don't know if this is going to be the video you guys want it to be. I know that on my channel I grill people on Dr. Phil all the time, and I enjoy doing it. But it's a different experience when they're on Dr. Phil, and there's like a barrier between us. But since this was an interview with them, I wanted to be respectful. I wanted to remain neutral. I didn't want confrontation. I think there's way too much hatred on the internet as is, and I don't want to add fuel to the fire. That's not what I want this channel to be about. I had legitimate questions relating to their time on Dr. Phil, legitimate questions relating to their lives. I only had like one problem with the interview, and that's that they were kissing a lot through it, and it made me uncomfortable just because of sheer PDA. And I asked them to stop, and they didn't, which was kind of rude. I mean, it just kind of seemed unprofessional to kiss through a whole entire interview. But I cut that out because I didn't want to subjugate you guys to that. I don't think you guys need to see it because I didn't even feel comfortable seeing it. All those points put aside, I just don't want to spread hatred. That's not my goal. I asked some pretty good questions, and I hope you guys enjoy the interview.
Well, there's certain things in life that we don't get to just pick and choose what our experiences are. So there are certain things we encounter that we may not necessarily like or agree with, but it's our best to be tolerant of it and allow people to live their lives.
Yeah, I mean, I understand tolerance. I just think like it comes a point where like, would I be allowed to run around with my dick out because that makes people uncomfortable?
Well, that's actually a very typical argument that people use, but it's fallacious. So
I mean, it's definitely
kissing,
an extreme example.
It is. And so let's just stick with what we have. Kissing is acceptable, and if you didn't know we were cousins, no one would even care. We would just be two people kissing.
I still think people would feel uncomfortable if you were kissing in front of them, even if they didn't know you were cousins. Like, people get uncomfortable around
some
PDA.
People, you're right.
Yeah, some people would, but not everyone would.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. But then the added layer of you being cousins makes other people extra uncomfortable with it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, of course. Lots of people have been uncomfortable, and I've made other people uncomfortable, and other people have made me uncomfortable.
I'm going to get into my questions here. I have a few that I wrote, and then I have a few that I took from my public posts that I made on YouTube.
We saw them.
Appreciate the lighthearted fetal deformity jokes. There's no such thing as a lighthearted deformity joke.
Yeah, and we can get into that here in a second. I'm just going to start off with my first question. How was your experience on Dr. Phil overall?
I would say I don't regret doing the show because we got exposure for our petition. We got all the signatures we were hoping for, and that didn't do anything for us with the legislature, unfortunately. But we were able to bring the awareness about the cousin couples to a lot of Americans.
Yeah, that leads into my next question, because I was going to ask you if you regret going on the show.
A little bit.
Sometimes I do, because of things like this, or we made ourselves vulnerable in a way that any keyboard jockey from some cellar somewhere can just be like, "Oh, you guys are nasty," and so it had its drawbacks with the negative criticism.
Yeah, we're experiencing what's known as the scapegoat phenomenon. So we are an easy target as a public, couple, where people take their discontent and anger about whatever's going on in their lives, social issues or whatever, and they aim it at us.
I mean, I think that's just an internet thing in general.
Yeah.
Which one of you was like pushing more for being on Dr. Phil?
I think we were both pretty much the same on that. Neither one of us were pressuring each other. We've been pretty simpatico on most things.
Yeah, I got scared a couple days before we were supposed to fly out. I thought, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm going to pass out. I'm going to throw up. But I don't have it in me to be on the show.
But you did great.
And we were debating, should we even do this? And Michael said, when Dr. Phil asks you to be on the show, you go on the show.
You don't say no to Dr. Phil.
So
that's fair. Do you feel like you guys got anything out of the show? Because from what I've seen, it doesn't really seem like he was able to I mean, besides you guys just like kind of getting your voice out there on your opinions on this,
Yeah.
like, did Dr. Phil really do anything for you guys? Because it kind of
Well,
seems like he just put you on the stage because it was a hot topic and it would get
yeah.
views.
Well, we did get compensated for our time, and we got like a little trip to LA.
Yeah, but I mean, did he like give
Nice.
you anything, like words of wisdom or anything that you took away from it?
I don't know if this got into the edit, but he did say that he wanted us to continue pushing for the legislature. If you can hear us,
Yeah.
all right? He
Yeah,
said
sounds
his
fine.
suggestion was to continue pushing with the legislature, but to obey the law while we're doing it.
But what was your impression of Dr. Phil's reaction to your relationship?
I'd like to answer that.
Okay.
Me and Angie, I think we pretty much agree on this, is we both got the impression that he really could carry the way. He wasn't against it. He wasn't for it. He was a professional doing a show. And beforehand, he shook our hands, was very polite. And after the interview was over, he shook our hands and said goodbye. And I get the impression that he was just doing a show and he didn't have anything against us. He provided something entertaining for people to watch.
Yeah. So you'd say he was pretty much neutral on the whole situation? He was just there to do his job?
He was there to do a job.
In fact, he did a show on cousin couples, I think in 2002. He brought on a couple, and we saw, we looked into this and saw that he was supportive of this couple.
He was supportive of it.
So we had anticipated that this was going to happen for us as well. We did not see that they were going to tell us we were wrong, and then the child abuse claim, we were like, what in the world? So
you guys both have kids separately, is that correct?
No, I have three. Michael has none.
Just Angie. Okay.
Yeah.
Was going to have a child, and that didn't happen. I have 0 children.
Okay. All right. So what do your kids think about it, Angie?
My son really likes Michael. My daughters are still kind of warming up to him, and as it was shown on the show, our oldest signed the petition. My oldest spends a lot more time with her boyfriend nowadays. So
do you worry about your kids at school possibly
no,
getting bullied or made fun of?
No, not at all.
No.
There really isn't much of a way for people to connect them to us. And also, people were saying that with our future child or children, saying that child is going to get bullied in school. But my thought is that by the time our child was going to school, most people would have forgotten about us and wouldn't really connect us with the child.
Yeah, I could see that as well.
Yeah,
I'd like to add something on that. A lot of the criticisms that we have been receiving, a fair percentage of them, have been like, your kids are going to get bullied. How dare you do this? Your kids are going to get bullied. They have experienced nothing. There has been no bullying at all. So that's good.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you say about the people that say that you're basically dooming a child to health risks if you two procreate?
Well, you can't state. Well, what I would say is you can't definitively say that you have doomed the child. You cannot say that.
I mean,
there are so many.
You're definitely increasing their risk. I think saying dooming the child is probably an overstatement, but you're definitely increasing a risk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. But here's an issue and Angie was able to point this out a while back, is we see all the time where a couple, a guy and a girl, or whoever, have something going on. Like maybe they both have diabetes or something, but nobody is coming in and stopping them from saying, hey, you're going to have an increased risk, or how dare you marry this paraplegic, or there's a lot of instances where we can see that people don't necessarily have the best genetics going into the marriage and procreating, but nobody is stopping them and saying, hey, you guys have these risks. You just don't do that. You don't just stop and say, hey, you both have diabetes, you can't have children. Mm-hmm. Nobody does that.
Yeah, and people don't usually persecute them. And also, I've made the point before that if we lived in Colorado, where this is legal, this wouldn't have made the news. We wouldn't have been on the show. No one would have heard about us, and no one would know whether we were having a baby or not, or have anything to say about it.
I mean, do you worry about the legal side of things? Like you guys getting in trouble for this?
I used to, but I don't anymore. I don't think that it would be very difficult to prove anything. Plus, we have an example that was provided to us from was it a senator?
Oh yeah, senator.
It was a senator that provided an example of a couple who were cousins. They went to California. By the way, it's legal in California.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, they went to California to get married, and they came back, and non-issue, nothing. There's nobody's. That's such a terrible waste of resources to go and come after the cousins. They got burglars, they got drug dealers, they got all sorts of people they need to worry about.
Yeah, but what about if a situation would happen where, let's say, I'm not sure of Angie's relationship with her former spouse, but what if he wanted like custody or something? Could they bring your relationship in that type of situation, or?
Right now, the relationship that I have with my former spouse is amicable, and you know, he's totally cool with us. He's from Cambodia, where I'm sure that's fairly common. You know, he expressed sorrow when we told him of our miscarriage. So I don't see any problems with him in the future.
Neither do I. Also, we are legally married. We are legally married in Colorado. There's nothing really to say.
Well, I mean, I've seen cases where YouTubers have lost custody of their kids because of the things they've done in videos and stuff. And I just didn't know if you had a bad relationship with your spouse, if you would be able. I mean, I have no clue about the law. I just didn't know if that was like a possibility or an issue that you guys have thought about. But I mean, if you have a good relationship with him, then it shouldn't be a problem. But
yeah, I'm not worried.
Yeah, that was just
I
something I
know
was
this
curious
guy.
about.
I've known him for a long time. I remember when they first got married. And he is not an irrational person. He's not going to try to do anything out of spite to hurt Angie or me or the children. He's very polite and respects our relationship.
I mean, do you understand why people have such a problem with your, like, do you understand where they're coming from? Like, you want people to, yeah, exactly. Like, you want people to understand where you're coming from, but on the opposite side, I think talking for the people that think that way, that this isn't, like, I personally, I've told you guys, I don't mind that you guys have a relationship.
Sure.
I would caution you guys on having a child just because of the increased health risks.
Yeah. Thank you.
So what we're planning to do is seek some genetic counseling.
Are you like a surrogate type situation, or?
No. We would just get some genetic counseling, you know, to show some social awareness and social responsibility. And
no, I think that's
reproductive
definitely
responsibility.
a step in the right direction.
Yeah. We're not trying to be reckless, and we're not trying to be selfish. We're not trying to just be like, hey, in your face, we don't care, right?
Yeah. I'm just like, I think the reason it's such a weird thing for people is because, like, in the West, the culture's changed where they just don't do that here.
Well, you know what? They do it here, but
they do.
A lot
it's legal
of cousins,
in 19 states.
A lot of cousins don't come out about it because of the fear of the social rejection. Yeah. The social rejection is such a big fear for people.
Is that I have always wanted to be with Angie. I have always loved her. I've had feelings for her that far surpass any feelings I've ever had about any other woman in my entire life. I can't turn it off. I can't just decide that, oh, she has everything I've ever wanted in a woman. She's gorgeous, she's smart, she's funny, everything I've ever wanted. Oh, but she's my cousin, so let me just turn this off. I mean, if a girl walked in, I don't know if you're gay or straight or whatever, but if a girl walked in, I'm assuming you're straight. If a girl walked in and she had like everything that you ever wanted, you got along with her better than anybody in your entire life. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this person my entire life. I cannot believe this person actually exists. Can you imagine you just turning this person away?
I just feel like as I grew up, I had two female cousins who were close to my age, pretty girls, nice girls, but I always had like this feeling and like this wall that like never made it feel anything more than family love, which I mean, that's just my personal experience. And I understand that like you love who you love. I just think a lot of the concern from people comes when it comes to you guys having children. I think that's where most of the concern is.
So in terms of like the incest taboo, when you grow up with someone a lot, like in the same household, or you see your cousins often growing up, you grew up in the same city or whatever, it's very natural for the incest taboo to develop. But it's much more common to have romantic feelings for a cousin when you don't see each other very often growing up and you reconnect as adults, and that's what happened to us.
Do you think that part of the attraction is in the taboo at all?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
have lots
I
of
mean, I can
cousins. I
understand
have
that.
many female cousins. Okay, we come from a very large family. My mother and her father are one of 12. Tons of cousins.
And we have 42.
A lot of them are very pretty. I don't have any feelings for them.
Do you still believe
It's
that
like,
that one cousin is jealous of your guys' relationship?
I think
no, I
she's
don't believe
jealous
it.
of us being happy together.
Yeah, I believe
Because
that.
she's shown that she's very, very bitter over past relationships.
Yeah, she doesn't. That's really her issue. Is
I think a lot of people who are, nauseated by us may possibly be triggered from incest trauma that they experienced as a child, where they were victimized by a parent or an aunt or uncle. And so they see this under the same category, although we're not
Yeah,
victimizing each other.
I could see
Yeah.
that, but I think that's a pretty small amount of people. I think most people are
It's possible.
triggered for other reasons, but I mean, I think there could be a small percent of people that are triggered because of that, but I think most people aren't. I think most people are just not very accepting because it just doesn't feel right to them. But
well, that's okay
that's their
because
feelings.
it feels right to us. And if you right now, Booyah Boy, decided that you were just going to make a bunch of weird noise and do some crazy stuff, or eat some feces or something, I don't care. Like, it doesn't affect me. Like, it has no effect on my day-to-day operations.
I think that's the main thing that we should take from this is that people shouldn't let other people's opinions or other people's situations affect how they feel or let it bother them. I think people are too sensitive.
That's the attitude that we both had about homosexuality. It's like, so they're doing that in their own homes, and that does not hurt me at all. It doesn't do anything.
Doesn't affect me at all. It has nothing to do with me. It never will have anything to do with me.
I think where
and
people
I want
have
people to be happy.
I think where people have a
happy.
problem is just with the children. I think they're worried about the children.
Yeah, a lot of people are.
Yeah, but just to let you know, there has been no issues.
Yeah.
It's a non-issue.
Well, hopefully it continues that way for you guys.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that.
Emotional intelligence and social intelligence are very important to us, and so we try to teach that to my kids, and we were planning to teach that for our baby, how to have self-love, how to, all the good values that you would want someone to grow up with is what we want to promote.
So a little bit off topic, this is one of the last questions. What's your second to newest profile picture about?
So, Michael's?
Yeah.
Which one are you referring to? Be more specific.
The one with you holding a piece of paper. This says
okay. I was detoxing off of something called Kratom. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I have heard of Kratom.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have been taking Kratom every day for like 5 months, like thick. And I quit cold turkey for various reasons. And the withdrawal was and I've been through heroin withdrawal, I've been through methadone withdrawal, I've been through all sorts of withdrawal. And it was very bad. And I think a couple days into it, I had taken some change that was in her change container, and I went to go purchase some beer to aid in the withdrawal. It didn't really help very much, but that was the purpose of that. Yeah. And that was a kind of a cleansing.
It was like taking accountability, because he does counseling for drug addicts, and accountability is a big part of that.
It's a huge
honesty.
So whose decision was it to make that post? Did you choose to do that yourself, Michael, or did Angie?
It was both of our decision.
Okay.
It was both of ours. Mm-hmm.
So, but I asked him to hold that sign and take that picture for his profile.
Okay, that was my one of my last questions. Have you guys ever been to couples therapy? Someone asked.
Nope.
No, but we should.
You should. Yeah, I think a lot of couples probably need it, whether they'd like to admit it or not.
Couldn't
Yeah, it's a
hurt.
good idea. Your audience will want to see you destroy us too, because that's what
Yeah, that's what
You
they like. That's
do.
what they're looking forward to you doing.
your viewers want to see, people being
Yeah, but I
destroyed.
mean, that wasn't my plan going into this, and I would feel really malicious if I went into editing this and tried to spin it so you guys look terrible. Because I personally
Well,
don't think you're bad people,
say what
but
you are.
I just, I don't know, I just kind of wanted some answers on what's happened since the show. Because there's another Dr. Phil guest that I'll be interviewing as well, and it's kind of just like after the
Follow
show
up, yeah.
follow
I'd like
up.
to ask you a question, though,
Where
if
are
I
they now?
could.
Yeah,
My question to you is this, and I'm assuming that you have a problem with this, correct?
problem
Like
with what?
with our relationship. You don't like
No,
it. You
not
don't.
with your relationship. I mean, I can see why people find it jarring, and I find it jarring as well, but it doesn't affect
Yeah.
me. It doesn't affect me
Okay.
personally. My only concerns come with you guys having children.
Sure.
Because, like,
So other than that, you're completely okay with it.
yeah, it doesn't affect me.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's just my opinion. I know some people are very against it. I don't care, because I'm like I would never call myself a libertarian, but I think everyone should keep themselves in check. If someone's doing something that doesn't affect me, then it's not a problem to me.
But thank you very much.
All
Bye,
right, see you guys.
Devin.
Take care.
Take care.
Yes, you
Bye,
too.
Booyah.
Bye.
It's fucking weird.